early. So, so we're recording today. Today is day 2 of the Supercharge Your Gym course with a little bit of adjustment due to the coronavirus. And today we're going to be talking a lot about communicating with your parents and how to best go about that. Hannah's got a whole thing that she's going to go through to show you good ways to make sure you are communicating with parents, to make sure that you get good results. Before we start, I do want to just throw out one thought that I really want to share with you. When it comes to negotiation and communication, a really good tactic, which gives you a good chance to have a win-win situation where you have a less chance of a win-lose situation, especially for yourself, is to make sure that you allow people to make decisions for themselves and you don't preempt, right? So that means, and you may have already done this, but that means if you close down, you don't reach out to everybody and offer refund and we're going to stop payment. You don't do that, right? What you do is you reach out to them and say, we have a virtual course. We are putting everything online. We're going to be doing courses every day. Here is our schedule. Those of you, we hope that this is going to be really helpful to you while you're stuck at home. But everything will be business as usual going forward. If you have any problems or any issues, please reach out to us and we'll work through them. So what you're doing there is you're basically saying, we're going to keep charging. We're going to keep doing the normal thing. If you have a problem and you don't want to do this, you can reach out to us and we can pause you, right? Because this is what typically happens is, if you put out there, I'm firing everybody, and anybody that wants to then join later can, you're going to have far less people that join later because all the 50-50 people won't bother, right? You'll probably find that maybe 20 to 30 to 40% of your parents are 50-50 on pretty much everything you ever say ever. So what we want to do is always assume that they're going to do business with us. Always assume that they're going to go, because your assumption will push them into the direction that you want to go. Many parents will want to support you, right? Many parents will want to pay you to support you because they love you guys, because you are gymnastics gyms. Typically gymnastics gyms build pretty strong relationships with their parents and with their community. So, I know one gym that we work with, the parent didn't only pay for the month of April, but sent $1,000 to the gym as well and said, here's $1,000 to help you guys. I know it must be really tough. So by saying, hey, sure, we're closed, but the program's still running. Here's the value that we're going to offer, because you have to offer value. You can't just close and not do anything, but you've got to give them something of value. Here's the value that we're giving you. And, if you don't like that, please contact us and we'll sort it out, right? So let them make the effort to say no. Don't say no to everybody and then tell them to make the effort to say yes, right? Because the ones that don't want to work with you, they are going to put the effort in to work with you. Those that might have worked with you anyway, they might not just bother. Does that make sense? And that way, what ends up happening is the parents that really wanted to help you and support you anyway, they're not having that taken away from them because you just closed and gave them their money back and stopped charging them. Those that were 50-50 and will probably end up using your program will just move into that situation. And the 30 to 40% that would say no, they're going to reach out to you and you're going to cancel. But at least you've got maybe 60% of your revenue still running, which for most of you might not only keep the lights on, but if you've scaled back your staff, you might still actually be profitable. And everybody will feel like a win-win. Everyone will feel okay. Does that make sense? So I just wanted to share that with you guys, because I'm seeing so many gyms just closing down and just shutting down and sending money back. And I'm like, you guys are the only industry on the planet that is doing that. No one else is doing that.
Yeah.
We had to call our SaaS companies, which is software as a service companies, to get deals. I had to call my banks. The bank didn't call me and say, hey, Andy, do you want to pause payments? No, I had to call them and say, what do you guys have on offer? And they said, we can pause your payments. And I was like, oh, okay. If I didn't call them, they probably would have just kept taking my money, right? That's how every other business does it. And I want you guys to operate like a business so that you can have a win-win and have a much greater chance of staying open. So that's my little start from a mental standpoint. But Hannah, I'll let you take over.
Yeah, so I've kind of tailored this more, assuming there'd be a lot more people on the call. So I think we can take this as a much more personal conversation with those of you that are here. And so just using it as an opportunity to collaborate on some of the things and strategies that you're using for messaging in this time, but also talking about things that you can do or prepare for now to set you up for success for when your doors reopen, if they're closed right now, or if you're in kind of that weird pause. Are all of your gyms shut down at this point as far as getting people in to your gyms?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So kind of taking it from that type of approach, because I actually think there's always opportunity and things like this, like what can we do now to prepare for the future? And so now that you're not in the classrooms teaching or in the office, you might have some time to actually get ready for when those doors reopen. So like taking advantage of that time. So I'll just kind of go through this, and it helps me stay on track of what I want to discuss. So Emily, it sounds like you're already setting up virtual classroom program of some sort. Peter and Sarah, is that something that you both are kind of working on or exploring at this point too?
So we're doing, so we are every single day, we are doing a different, either like stretch or class or something. We're not going through any additional platform to do it. We're just going through our different channels.
Okay.
But that's our goal, is to get every single, because we have so many programs, every single program to get a few videos to us so that we can post it every day while we're not in.
Nice. So you're still engaging in that virtual sense right now.
Yes, exactly.
And Emily, are you kind of working on doing the same?
Yeah, we're doing essentially one class. We have more than just gymnastics at our gym. So we have like wrestling and Zumba, and the Ninja Zone and things like that. So we're basically doing one class per week, per program, and posting it. We have it through our website, and we set that up on a special page on there and stuff. And then right now we're posting it through our Facebook as well. But starting next week, it'll just be through our website and just telling people basically to go check out the website. We're having them register on there, and it'll be password protected for our actual members.
Awesome. And Sarah, I'm not sure if you're there. Are you working on some sort of virtual programming for your gym? You're there?
I'm not sure if she's got her audio working.
Okay.
Sarah, if you can hear us but you can't say anything, feel free to type in chat as well.
Yeah.
So we've got Zoom chat. It's the little chat box at the bottom. You can click on there and you can answer any questions in there if that's where you want to be. I think she's trying to get in. I see another.
Sort it out. Okay.
It's just joined.
So just kind of on that note too, and Emily, it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, right now you have it set up so it's password protected. So are you both just offering this to your members, or are you potentially offering it outside of your membership to like drive new engagement too?
Yeah, we're doing both. So this week, especially as we're working at the Kinks, we're offering it. It's on Facebook and everything, so it's not password protected. But next week, with kind of the new month when the people are still paying for the service, that's when it's going to go to password protected. So it's almost kind of like a teaser for the week, kind of getting people interested in what we're even going to be offering. And then when it's password protected, it's for our members, and I gave them all a code that'll make it free when they register. And then non-members can also register for it. They just have a smaller fee. I think we made it like $15 for the month or something, but it's just for the online content, and it's our members get to keep their spots in classes as well and stuff.
Awesome.
And I gave them a few other incentives for when they come back.
And how's that been going? I guess
we just really started it yesterday, so I don't have a ton of feedback, but I do have people definitely doing the videos. We've gotten a lot of the parents who are a little bit more involved, so like the competitive parents and our wrestling parents are super involved with social media, so they've been posting that they're doing the videos and stuff like that. So don't have a ton of data back yet because we only started it yesterday, but we have gotten some good response so far.
Good. And Peter, has there been any feedback really from what your gym's been doing so far?
Yeah, so far it's been pretty good. We haven't really, it's all been positive in regards to the videos that we've been putting out, and we really, besides our kind of classes or things that are sending home to our parents and families, we also kind of created a social media fitness challenge along with the Aspire push-up challenge, and getting people to do this like the same thing video, and that's been our
Great.
biggest thing, and getting a lot of feedback and positive from that. So far, I mean, we've been only doing it for like 4 or 5 days, but so far it's been super great.
Good. Awesome. And so it sounds like it, for both of you, you're headed in that direction of getting yourselves situated virtually. Is there anything that you're having challenges with some of the messaging or the delivery to your members? Or do you feel like at this point you feel pretty confident in that space?
I would say I'm getting much more confident. It was
Yeah.
a learning curve for me on how to get the videos, because we're not doing them live. We're doing them because we're having our instructors film them at home and send them to us. And so it was more of getting those onto the right platform and figuring out how to make the video actually look like it's not all over the place.
Yeah.
But because I'm not a techie person to start with, but I feel like I've given myself a pat on the back. I feel like much more techie this week than I have. So I'm getting there, and it's getting a lot easier.
And if you have any questions, Emily, about things, just make sure you are active in the marketing group, because my whole team is pretty watching that for people asking for help. Especially Ella. Ella's job is basically to roam that to make sure everyone's being taken care of. So if you have any, like, you're stuck on anything, please ask a question in there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Happy to help.
So unless you have specific questions, I think I'll kind of move on to the next phase of like the virtual messaging, because it sounds like you're feeling pretty confident with setting up the platform for your members and having the messaging to them. And so something that we've been talking about internally that we're going to start working on with our own clients is how now can they turn that program into something that potentially drives the new customers during this time, and like different strategies to do that. Because at this point, I know each state's different, each gym's different, but the kind of the time that we're going to be in this period is very unknown at this point. So it could be 2 weeks, could be 3 months. We don't know. So like, how do we sustain ourselves to keep our gyms open and moving forward during that time period? So something that we can do, and you might have seen this in the group, is on how to create messaging that's attractive to people that are maybe outside of your membership. And social media, I'm sure both of you know, is a great platform to do that, because you can reach people within your community or outside your community. And this is actually an advertisement that we've put together for one of our own gyms that we're putting at like a really low budget to hit moms and dads in their local geo area, that's driving people to sign up for this program. Now, I believe this gym is offering it at a like donation base, but Emily, it sounds like you're doing like a $15 fee for people that aren't members to your platform. So this could actually be a really good strategy for you with, if you wanted to do $1 a day or $2 a day in ad spend to like hit some of those people in your community that you might not normally reach. And then Peter, if that's something that, you know, after you feel like you're confident in how you're engaging with your current client, you could look at that next layer of, okay, this stuff is compelling, people are enjoying it. Now I can use this as a way to drive people into my gym. And even if it's just to gather contact information, you know, and you can promote to them later, but it's kind of a unique opportunity to reach your general community in a different way. And so just so kind of give another example. So I actually run a nonprofit outside of this job, and we do youth flag rugby. And so we obviously can't do that right now. So we're basically turning our flag rugby program into a virtual classroom. And what's really cool about it is that we actually can now bring in people from all over the country to join our program, not just people restricted from our community. So it's also kind of an interesting way to engage people outside of your community too, potentially.
Yeah.
So just thinking about that as a strategy as well.
And I'd like to just throw in there, Hannah, that you know, there's 2 things that we're trying to do, right? So for you guys as gyms, there's 2 things you should be working on. And what we're working really hard on, this is what my team is busting our butts on, is how to get you through this period.
Yep.
And even more so, how to make sure this period ends and you guys start growing, not staggering out and slowly starting to go, right? Mm-hmm. So what we're seeing with this, you do have 2 choices. You can keep it in-house where you're just trying to make sure that your kids and your team and your parents stay engaged and paying. We know that you're going to lose some of them. We know that some of them may never come back, right? The other strategy is that you take care of the parents in the gym, but you also use this, as Emily, you're starting to think of using it as a way to reach out to the greater community and get them excited. And maybe they've never done gymnastics before. And when you reopen, you can get in touch with those same people and say, we're reopen for business, come and join us. Now you've done some classes while COVID-19 has been hitting us. Now it's time to actually do the classes for real. And our hope is that this strategy will not only keep you going throughout this period, but actually boost you up when we reopen again. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
And just,
Hannah.
yeah, no, I just wanted to point out, I'm not sure, are either of you have built any of your own Facebook ads or done any Facebook ads for your gyms? You have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you probably know some of this, but it's just kind of reiterating some of those key pieces when you're looking to build your ad. And this is just attributing that to, for example, in the current situation we're in, an ad that might be running to promote your online classes. And so obviously having an engaging headline, clear call to action, an image that stops people in their feed, and then a compelling message. And so it's just kind of reiterating that no matter what ad you're running, just having those as the main focus points. So I can also, if you, Emily or Peter, Barbara, nice to see you. If you want me to, I can also send you this screenshot of this ad if you want to use it as a reference point for some of the stuff that you're going to be doing. Obviously, you don't have to do it, but just if you're going to go down that route, it might be good to have something to look back on too, if you want. Before we kind of switch gears to more like future planning and like targeting people not from a COVID perspective or virtual classroom, but actually when your gyms are going to reopen, is there any questions you have kind of on any of the strategies or messaging with like advertisement to kind of promote those online classes you might have?
I did have one. I just wanted to get your opinion, just because I know within our group it's kind of gone back and forth. When you're doing the videos or online classes or any of that, how do you make it full out to the public where everyone can access it? Do you keep some certain things left to just the people that are still paying? What kind of do you find is the best strategy? Because I know that I understand both sides, but so I just wanted to get your guys' opinion.
I think something you have to keep in mind, if you want your members to stay as paying members, you have to give them probably something different than you're giving away. It's something for free.
Right.
So I think that's why.
I think what we're doing though, I think what we've got, at least in our system, I don't know about other systems. At least in our system, it's like a 2-tier process.
Yeah.
It's using Facebook and Facebook Live, and it's using and your page, and it's using a WordPress website which is a resource which is password protected, right? Yeah. So it is possible to kind of like give a different value to your parents while still getting out there, right? So you put out a schedule and say, hey schedule, hey Facebook world or Chandler, we're going to be having these classes at these times, and you do the Facebook Live. It's broadcast live, so they can do it and participate in it, and then it just gets put onto your page, and they've got to try and find it. With your parents will have a password. They go to your password protected site. They log in, and all your videos are all nicely lined up and all put together as a resource for them to use it whenever they wish. And that's kind of the strategy that we're using with that. And but we do have some gyms that I've spoken to who've said, you know what, I'm just going to do it for my parents. I'm not actually going to reach out to the wider community, and that's a strategy too, right? I don't think there's any one way that I'd say this is the wrong or right way. There's benefits to all of them. And it's kind of like where you're at and what you want to do. I personally, if I still had my gym, and I owned a gym for 10 years, I would probably do the 2-tier thing where it's like, hey, if you're a parent, you have access to this, or if you pay me like Emily, if you're going to do that, $15 a month, you'll have access to everything. If you're not paying anything, I want the local community to see all this great stuff that I'm doing for the community to build up that goodwill. and
Yeah.
they can get involved with that through my Facebook page and Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Right.
What's important though is to communicate your class schedule and to organize that.
I would say it's probably good to have some sort of, at some point, have a layer where you're actually collecting information from people or something, so that later on you can use that information to upsell them to other things. So whether it's, hey, like even if it's free, like sign up for the class and they just have to put their name and email, even if it's free, that way you can still remind them a month from now that, hey, Ninja program's launching next week or whatever. So that gives you ammo for later on if you can. Oh, that was a good question. Any other questions? Awesome. And if you want to go back and ask any more questions, please feel free to jump in. So I'm going to kind of shift gears a little bit. And so the virtual thing is kind of this bomb that's been dropped on us the last couple of weeks, but I think at some point that we're going to be able to go back to our gyms and we're going to be able to execute our classes, and how to have a strategy to grow, and the messaging around how to get new people into our gym, and just having that consistent message, and some strategies that you probably are already using, and just some reminders too, so just as we go back to that normal life, you would say. So after this call, by the way, I'm going to have Andy send an email that has 2 different sheets that you can access. One's kind of like a worksheet and one's just kind of a reference point, and they're both about audience and messaging that you can kind of go through and do them if you want. Right now we're kind of in a unique opportunity where I would assume that a lot of you have some extra time versus, I mean, you still are busy, but you have some space where you can actually focus on projects that maybe you haven't, or review different things to kind of get them ready. And so I would say take advantage of that time and make a little sliver of space for digital and what you're doing in the digital place. So like reviewing your website. If you've been thinking about doing Facebook advertising, but you've put it on the back burner, like right now is a really good time to start doing some research on the audiences and messaging and all that stuff, so that when you reopen, it just doesn't get put back on the back burner again. So one of the worksheets is audience persona. And some of you probably know this already and maybe are targeting this already, but it's just like a mental walkthrough of how to figure out who the person is that you're trying to reach when you're looking on social media and advertising. And this is more for getting new people into your gym. So like, who are those people that we want to go after to get into your gym? And it just asks some questions. And the questions on this worksheet are asked based on some of the interests and insights you can layer in Facebook advertising. So like based on who and what you want to segment. And so I won't go into too much detail on it, other than it's a really great exercise to just get your brain thinking about who are the people that you're speaking to or you want to speak to get into your gym. And that really helps craft your messaging when you're looking at doing social media posts, when you're looking at doing Facebook advertising, to make sure that your messaging is resonating with the audience. Does that make sense? Yeah. And have you, how much, I know Emily, Peter, you said you've been doing some Facebook advertising. Do you feel pretty confident in kind of the audiences that you're going after? Are you pretty broad, or have you experimented much with that?
I've experimented a little bit with both. I've done some pretty like just neighborhood areas around like where our gym is, but then I've also branched out to definitely more of a broad spectrum. And we've kind of gotten very similar feedback in both of them as far as like the number of people inquiries that we're getting from those. But I definitely want to do something with this as far as the classes, because it's a kind of a different thing. So we've only done stuff where we're really just looking for inquiries. Like, are you interested in gymnastics classes at all? But right now it's such a different time that I have no idea if I really should be targeting very specific people or if it should be more broad, because I can kind of see how both would work in this instance, I guess.
Yeah. Peter, what about you?
Yeah, so we've kind of, I mean, I've experienced with a lot within the different personas and markets and audiences, just because I'm a marketing manager for a different company, not my company. And so I bring that a lot here. And yeah, it's great. Like, I love, one of my favorite things is this exercise that you're talking about, creating your target market and your personas is so much fun
Yeah.
for me to do. And then I always also create like a anti-persona of who you're not targeting, just so that
Yeah.
we stay in the lane. And so it's really cool to do that. But yeah, we've really tried to get with our team here, get more specific. We used to, before I got here, it was very broad.
Yep.
And almost too broad, like we just weren't really targeting anyone or trying to target too many people. So
Yeah.
we were trying to get a lot more specific with the specific ads, kind of in some of the videos you guys have done before with like,
Yeah.
this ad is for this specific target group of people. And so that's been working a lot better. And we've been seeing a lot more responses from that one, but we definitely are trying to get a lot more dialed in.
Yeah. And it looks like we've got a couple more people sneak in to the call.
And just remember, guys, like the power of Facebook is the targeting, right?
Yeah.
That we've got it dialed in now for our clients, that we know we're going to reach pretty much all the mums that have Facebook and Instagram in that local area. And not only are we going to reach them, we're going to reach them probably 5 or 6 times a month for a pretty low budget. And that comes down to targeting. Then obviously having the messaging that backs that up, that's compelling to mums, is really important. So, but the targeting is where it's at.
Yeah, and I don't know if anyone else that's kind of snuck on, if you have any questions kind of about audience persona, or if you've done any experimenting with that at this point.
Yeah. And if anybody has any, because some of you have joined a little bit later, if anybody has any questions about the virtual class stuff, throw your hands up and chat. We'll drop it into the chat if you don't actually want to say anything. Just click on the chat button, throw in whatever questions you have about anything. It's about messaging, communicating with parents, and helping get your virtual classes going. And then once your virtual classes are up and running and we keep everybody involved, how to make sure that when we open at a run and not a stumble. Yeah.
And just to add, if you missed it, I am going to have Andy send out an email that has a couple of these worksheets, and one is the audience persona. And it's pretty simple, but it starts getting you thinking about who do I want to be hitting with my ads. And these are different layers in Facebook ads that you can also specifically look for. So interests or demographics, those types of things.
And we are recording this too. So those of you that have missed the first 15, 20 minutes,
you can go back
you'll be able to go back and watch it. We'll be posting that in the gymnastics marketing group for you guys to watch as you will.
And Emily, I would just say most of the time, the person that you're going to be targeting both now and in the future for virtual and non-virtual is probably about the same person. If anything, it might be more people, because more people need things to do right now.
Yeah.
I would say. So, okay. So these are just some generic questions about like, who is your target market? Where are they based? What are they interested in? So these are all questions that you can kind of go through on that worksheet. Most of the time, from what we've seen, we're going after moms, sometimes dads, but majority of the time it's moms that are making that decision. And then when we talk about where, that's where you start getting into your radiuses and zip codes. And so, Emily, it sounds like you've done some experimenting with different neighborhoods and whatnot. So in your own communities, there's going to be pockets of communities that you get members from and you don't. And so like thinking about how to maximize the areas that you know. Usually what we'll do is we'll experiment first with, or test first, a radius, unless the client has specific zip codes they want to exclude. So you might have very specific zip codes that you can exclude. And Peter, that's kind of, you were talking about that, the anti-persona, like who are those people actually that you maybe don't want to spend money focusing on? So you can also have some of that power as well. Okay, so just kind of reiterating who we're going after, moms and dads, but it's parents, guardians, people that are looking after kids, right? Something you can think about with your segmenting is you can put age ranges on the people you're going after. So if you don't want to target grandmas and grandpas, you can exclude those ages. If you don't want to target 18 and under, you can do that. And also, like what we were talking about before, like interests and demographics. Now, as we start thinking about the messaging for those people, it's really easy for us as gym owners to potentially, or business owners, to write messages based on our knowledge and our understanding, not basically on the people that don't know anything about us. And so thinking about if I'm going after someone that has maybe never heard of my business, maybe they don't even know what gymnastics is. So for me, I write ads all the time for rugby, and most people don't know what rugby is or know anything about it. And so I have to really take off my rugby hat and put on I know nothing about this sport or activity, and write the message that resonates with someone with that perspective. And so while gymnastics is maybe more familiar, or wrestling, or all these things, maybe Emily, you offer girls wrestling, but some people don't even know that girls wrestling exists, for example. So it's really taking that step back and writing from that lens. And then also, when I say remember, like I have it here, remembering the why, we have to really reflect on why would someone actually want to sign their kid up for our program. And it's using compelling stories and messaging to get to that point. So Andy, you have a really good example. You always talk about the little boy who did the front roll in gymnastics. And so me, I'm a mom. I have a son who's a little under 2 years old. I do not care about him training to join the Olympic team. I just want my kid to join a program that's going to be fun and that he's going to really develop. And so reminding ourselves to write messaging for that mom. So, and Andy, what I was talking about before about telling compelling stories. I don't know about you, but whenever I see those videos or posts on social media of like the kid, like, and it has like fun music and he like just rode his bike for the first time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's my boy. You know, like I get all emotional. It's like, how do we write stories like that? So
Right.
just writing like, hey, this is Peter from our ninja class. He just learned how to do a cartwheel for the first time. Well done, Peter. Like you can actually use that story in an ad, and that can really resonate with people and draw that connection, and kind of really hits to the why of why a mom would actually sign their son up.
And remember what Facebook is. You know, Facebook isn't a land of ads where you say 10% off, sign up today, blah, blah, blah. You know, do business with us. It's only $89. It's not what people go to Facebook for.
No.
What people go to Facebook for is to look at funny cat stories and check out their family, right? So what we want to do is we want to be entertaining, because it's really an entertainment thing. It's something that people do to be connected to those that are important to them, but also to be entertained, either because they want to get all frustrated and angry because of some crazy political post, because some people love that. Some people love to see crazy things go on. You know, my wife loves seeing, you know, kids trying to do stupid things and crashing and burning. She's like, if my wife's laughing, it's because there's a video on YouTube she's watching where some kid's trying to skate down a thing and, you know, and falls off and hurts himself. And I'm like, what's the matter with you? You think that's so funny, but she thinks those are funny. So what you can do is be part of that and telling a story. And my vision, and I think this pans out as to what actually works, is tell the uplifting stories that are going on in your gym, because the quite honest truth is every day there's one. You might not realize it because you're coaching team or Peter, you're in the office trying to make sure that the lights are turned on. But the reality is every single day there's something amazing that's happening that might be a big moment in a little kid's life. And if you can capture those moments, just one of them a week or two of them a month, that's what parents are going to be interested in, especially parents that aren't involved, right? So it's going to be, you know, here's the story of a little 3-year-old that was hiding behind mom for such a long time, and she just learned to do her forward roll, and she's got her hands up in the air with a big smile or whatever, or you film her doing her forward roll and turning around with a big smile, right? That's compelling advertising. That's what parents are going to resonate with, because they look at that little girl and think, that could be my little girl, right? That could be my little boy. I need that in our life, right? That's how we should be messaging. Make it like a story that's compelling, that parents can resonate with. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I would just add too, you can still do that right now, even in the climate that we're in. So even though you can't capture moments in your gym, you can engage with your community now to still share those stories with you. So like, even if they're at home and they're practicing their cartwheels and they just figured out how to do a cartwheel in their home, like you can still use those stories right now. So don't think that you have to put that on pause until you actually get back into your gyms and like are working with kids directly. The last thing I would say is like it's kind of going on to the due diligence and the great resume. It's leveraging the power of testimonials. So I write a lot of advertisement copy for e-commerce clients, and 9 times out of 10, the best ads that resonate are the ones that have just testimonies from other people. It's not me talking about their product, it's other people talking about their product. And so thinking about your own gyms, if you do have some really great testimonies, you literally can just put 5-star emojis, copy and paste the text, and maybe it's a mom talking about how much she loves the wrestling program or the ninja program and how it changed her kid's life. And then on the bottom you say, if you want to sign up for a ninja program, click below. And like it's somebody else's words, and people trust that. And if you don't have reviews or a lot of good reviews, now while you have some of that time is a really great time to actually build those up. So going and speaking to the parents that have been part of your gym for years and just saying, hey, like, would you mind writing us a review? Would you mind writing it on Facebook or Google, and just start buffing up that space? Because people will look into that. I mean, I'm sure you all do this when you go on Amazon. You look for the product that has the most reviews or the highest reviews, and you pick that one first. You know, it's like everything in life. So being a space that also has that credibility can be really, really powerful. With the ads that you've run before, how many of you do you feel like you're writing more to that why and that storytelling, or you feel like you're more lean to the sign up now, 2-for-1 kids sign up or whatever?
I would say that we've kind of done a little of both.
Yeah.
More recently is when I've been trying to figure out how to really implement more of this storytelling.
Yeah.
And like my first attempts at some of the ads were just like 50% off enrollment or whatever the deal is. But I know that because I'm new to the marketing stuff. So that was kind of like where I started trying to pivot and try and figure out what else I can do besides just offering a deal.
And I think you can combine those things sometimes too, but it's like, what's the focus? And the focus is the amazing experience. And oh, by the way, right now you can get 50% off for a ninja program.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just, what's that focus point?
And also to bring it back to where we are today, if you're trying to promote it out to the local community doing virtual classes, is capture some video moments of kids doing your class. Like, ask some of your parents to record their kid doing a class and have them send it in to you, and you can utilize it to actually do it. It's the same kind of concept, right? To you know, capturing that story about, look at, hey, we do an online ninja class, and my kids have got this obstacle course, and they're doing it with XYZ Gym, and they capture it, and then you put it into a little bit of a program and put a little bit of ad spend behind it to get more of the community involved. And it all kind of works the same way. Just wanted to bring it back a little bit to the current situation as well.
Yeah. Any questions on that, or any other experiences that you've had with kind of crafting those messages?
We've actually, I think we don't do enough of the like 50% or whatever specials we have going on. We do a lot of small stories, or we post a lot of ads involving a video, involving a story. And we rarely have that kind of other aspect of it, of the 50% or 2-for-1, whatever we got going on, which we can do more. We do it a lot of internally within our emails that we send out, but not so much from an ad perspective. So that's something that we've been trying to really push out to the public more than just it being to our families we already have. But we also are having, not trouble, but trying to find more stories within specific programs that resonate more within each different activity that we do have in the building, versus doing an overarching one about the whole entire gym.
I don't think it's necessary to offer discounts. I do think, I think there's always it's nice to have call to action. Over time, it's not necessary, right?
Right.
Gemini Gymnastics, who's been with us for 3 years, they've never offered a discount, and they now have an avalanche of interest because they've blanketed the local community. All the mums know about them. because they've been doing this for 3 years, and they have a problem of they keep raising their prices and in hopes to lose some kids because they actually just want to have 950 kids and they're at 1,050 and they've only got an 8,500 square foot gym. So they're like busting at the seams and they keep going, let's raise the prices so we can get rid of some kids. And what happens is those kids, sure, they lose 100 kids, but then they get another 100 sign up at the new higher rate. And that's no discount that's ever been involved. That's just been constant high quality messaging, storytelling about, what they have on offer.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just add to that, an offer doesn't have to be a price like connection. So the offer could be, help your kid grow their confidence this spring. Like that's
Right.
like what you're providing them is building confidence. It's not 50% off. So it's also rethinking our brains about kind of going back to that why, and that can really be tied to that offer,
And think about that why as those of you that are parents.
Yeah.
Are you more compelled by saving, $45? Or are you more compelled by providing an amazing opportunity for your kid? What's more compelling to you? Saving $35 or amazing opportunity for your child? Typically, I think most parents are going to go down the amazing opportunity for the child route. So you can package that as look what we have on offer. We have on offer your kid being stronger, faster, more confident, right? And that can be very compelling over time. It's like amazing.
So I have a question. We do a lot of we'll do posts and videos of kids doing skills, or hey, Susie got her pullover and a video of her doing it. But I don't necessarily create it as an ad or an offer or anything like that. It's just a post. So should I be doing that differently?
So that's a really good question. I think I talk about that later in the presentation, but there's a big difference between posting on your page and posting through an advertisement. And it's mostly about who you're reaching. So when you're just posting on your feed, that message, while it's really powerful, it's only going to people that are already kind of engaged with your brand. So it's kind of building that credibility with who already knows you, but it's not actually using that story to probably bring in new people. So what you can do is if you want to use that story as a way to drive new people into your gym, you can essentially recreate that post. Or you can also use the post ID, which I think we have a training on that in our course, and I probably could find it and send it to you, but you can actually turn that exact post into an ad instead of recreating it. And so it's also about, it really just comes down to how you want to use that message. Because what you're probably posting right now, Barbara, is what you want people that don't know about you to know, but it's just putting it in the right place so that they can see it.
I think if you think about your page, if all you do is put something on your page and just leave it there and do nothing else, you're pretty much preaching to your pool of people that are already somewhat connected with you.
Yeah.
What's really important for you guys as businesses is to continually broadening that pool, right? So, you might be and to give you some stats, if you've got a town or a local area of 100,000 people, on average, there's 17,000 children who potentially could come to your gym just from an age standpoint, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously there's economic stuff that comes into it, but there's 17,000. Our numbers suggest that if you've got those 17,000, that it's not unreasonable for you to actually get about 10% of them engaging and doing business with your gym. So that means if you're in that kind of market, you could be a 1,700 strong gym, right? If you've got your marketing dialed in and doing things right.
Yeah.
By posting on your page, the difficulty that you have is that you're constantly talking to that same pool and you're not broadening it.
Yeah.
You can, as Hannah said, definitely do. One of the things we always do, and we've done this with ecom as well, and just so you know, Hannah is our ecom gun, which is really high level for Facebook marketing. One of the things we sometimes do is we'll put a post, especially if there's a large audience on a page that a client has. We put a post out there, we dress it up and make it really nice, and we put multiple posts, and the one that gets more action on it, we look at as a bit of a winner, and we use that as something that we might put the money behind.
Yeah.
When you put money behind and you actually turn it into an ad, you have way more options to actually really nail down that target audience and actually start broadening that pool to people that aren't already doing business with you. And you can actually even exclude people that are already connected with your page if you want to as well, which means that you're only going after people that have never heard of you or aren't connected with you, which really is where the power becomes. And getting that message in front of that mom several times a month in, month out. There's back in the day when I was on TV, one of the thought processes with psychographics is different to demographics, right? Demographics is, Hannah is, a 30-year-old mom of one, lives in a certain area, blah, 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 blah. That's demographics. Psychographics is what she's interested in and what's interesting to her. So from a psychographic standpoint, what we found is when you're going after those mums, constantly, that when you get up to about 15 to 20 touches that they see your ad 15 to 20 times, it becomes something that they're thinking about, right? And even if they are scrolling past your ad and don't engage with it, they're going to see your ad and go, that's Barbara's gym, or that's that gym. Huh, I need to be doing something here. Yeah, maybe I need to do it. And then it becomes super powerful. And that only really will happen if you actually turn that post into an outreach post, which will require some money. Now, from a money standpoint, because many of you are very, adverse to spending money that isn't on lots of nice equipment and really great coaches, the money doesn't need to be a lot, right? We're seeing our gyms do quite well with budgets of around about, what is it? $10 to $20 a day at most, right? Some gyms spend a lot more. Basically, you need to, we have a couple of gyms that spend thousands, but because they're putting $10 a day behind birthday party ads, kids night out ads, kinder gym ads, rec ads, all sorts of different things.
And
so
Andy,
I don't know if that helps.
I would just add too that Facebook has different objectives you can choose between, and each one you can reach people different ways, and each one you can use with different budgets. So for example, it really depends on the outcome. So if your goal is to just make sure that every mom in your community knows who you are, and you want to spend $2 a day to do that, you can do that. Now, it might not immediately directly relate to someone giving you a phone call that day, but you do know that people see who you are and what you're doing. So you can really use Facebook at any budget, to be honest, but you have to just be more mindful of what is the objective of what you're trying to achieve with that specific ad. And so if your objective is just to make sure everybody knows about you, and you don't necessarily need them to sign up right away from that advertisement, you can do that for $1 or $2 a day.
Yeah.
And there's a whole, it gets into some deep understanding of how the different objectives and how Facebook works, but that is very possible to do that as well. And I would just add one last thing. There is a big difference between boosting those posts and making an ad as well. So boosting is very limited with your audiences and your reach. And for me personally, if you have the capability, I would always err on the side of going an actual Facebook ad versus boosting, because you're just going to really maximize those dollars so much further. And I think the reason a lot of people go to boosting is because it doesn't really require that knowledge. And it's like the easier option, but it's so much better from an investment standpoint to take the time to understand the advertisement first, because you're going to get the most for your money. So I don't know if any of you probably experimented with boosting, but they give you some nice vanity metrics like, oh, you reached 500 people, but it really doesn't.
Yeah. If I give you my opinion on boosting, it's Facebook's way of putting their hand into your pocket and taking money out, not necessarily actually doing much for you. It's very profitable for Facebook boosting. I read somewhere where it comes into something like 50% of their total income is just on random people boosting. And Facebook will even tell you that boosting is not very effective. So please avoid the boosting. Just so you guys know, everything that we're talking about, even from a step-by-step standpoint, is in that link that I put in the chat. So if you go into the chat, in that link is the academy. Again, if you don't have any money right now, don't pay us anything. I don't care, right? It's a donation. If you feel that there's value in it, donate something that helps me continue paying Hannah. But what's more important is that you keep the lights on right now. So when we reopen, we have a chance of working together, right? That's what I really care about right now. So,
and Andy, just to confirm, the access to the Marketing Academy, they get full access to the whole thing, right? It's not just the virtual. Yeah. So I would say even if just signing up and just poking around in there, there's so many resources, and then you just get access to that stuff. So even if you aren't 100% sure, now is actually the best time to do it, because you don't necessarily have to pay us.
Yeah, when everybody gets over the COVID-19 and everything, I'm going to shut that donation down. I'm going to turn it into dollars, and we're going to make money out of it. So get in there now, because it's lifetime, right? Yeah. If you get in there now, you're in there for a lifetime. We use it as a bit of a training portal too, so we're constantly updating it. So it's constantly going to be updated. There's already been 2 updates since last Monday, right? So get in there and utilize it. It's a wonderful tool. It's basically learning what we do every day for our customers. Okay.
Cool. So just kind of moving forward too, I'm also, in addition to the persona worksheet, we have this PDF that kind of highlights some of the things to consider when crafting your message, just as a good reference point for when you're going back to building out advertisements or even just social media posts, and just kind of referencing back. So I'll include that in the email, and just to kind of highlight what is referenced on that sheet. So one is, what about your gym is special? So something that we ask this question in our business intelligence when we bring on new clients, like, what about your gym is special? And oftentimes people start with, well, we have the state-of-the-art facility and all brand new equipment and blah, 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 blah. And in all honesty, it's a lot of stuff that all gyms probably have. Like, they all have equipment, they all have a facility, they all have coaches, but like, what are those really unique things that help you stand out? And I think this kind of goes back to the why. And so kind of an exercise that we do is, a lot of you have like a tagline probably for your gym. And if you don't, it might be good to like build one. But for one, like, someone's tagline might be helping kids fall in love with gymnastics, and using that to kind of help position what makes you special. And it's really coming back to, you know, every day we make spaces where kids fall in love with gymnastics, and that's what makes us special. And that's different than the gym down the street, because their message might be turning gymnasts into champions, for example.
Right.
So thinking about those unique characteristics and how that contributes to your why. Now, while it's important to make sure parents know that your facilities are safe and air conditioned or whatever, at the end of the day, those are things that people kind of expect most of the times. And then the other things are what set you apart and make you special. And then when crafting your message is what I'm saying really matter. So this kind of goes back to writing a message that resonates with the people that you're speaking to and what matters to them. And it really goes back to that why, that what matters to them is that their kids are going to be part of a safe, developing space where they can have lots of fun and make new friends, for example. So really just keep referencing back what really matters to their parents and their kids. And then what am I offering? So we talked a little bit about this as well. It doesn't have to be just 50% off. It can be offering a space where kids can grow their confidence, you know? And then just the reminder about that a story can be more powerful than a sale. And I'm not saying don't use financial based offers, because those work. They do work in certain instances. It's about having the balance and where the focus point is. So telling a compelling story, by the way, early bird special for our Ninja program. So it's just attaching that emotion with that financial offer. And I think offers like financially, you have to be really careful, because we've seen this with e-commerce. If you offer discounts all the time, people will only buy when you offer discounts. They won't buy other times. And so you just have to be really careful about how you use those as incentives, because then, one, you're only going to attract people that buy things on deals and they don't buy for the right reasons. And then they're only going to engage for the free or the 50% off, or et cetera. So we've had to do some experimenting with the offers we do for our own clients because of some of those challenges, because we don't want to get people in the door that aren't actually committed to the main reason of why their kids should be there. And the last thing that's not on the worksheet that I think is really, really important is brand consistency. And that's not only with how you look, but that's how you speak. And so using familiar language, using familiar hashtags that when people see it, they know who you are. So anything you see on social media that's related to Nike, you probably don't even need to look for the icon. You already know it's Nike because of the colors and the fonts and the words. And so it's like thinking about your own brand is what are the colors, fonts, words, etc. that I'm using that when somebody sees it, they're like, oh, that's Emily's gym because it's always purple or whatever. I don't know if your gym's purple, but I see purple in your sweatshirt. So, but, and making sure that's reflective on your website, on your Facebook page. I don't know how many times we've had clients come on that they have so many different colors or they have fonts all over the place or their logos don't fit. And all of that really matters. And like right now is a really good time to actually almost do like a self digital audit of your gym and just look at, okay, this is my website. This is my Facebook page. This is my Instagram. What matches, what doesn't match, and like get those.
Can I just throw something in there, guys? I know for a fact because when we started this company, me and Russell basically did a study of about 1,000 gyms out of the 4,500 that were registered with USA Gymnastics at the time. 85% of them had terrible websites, not just bad websites. I'm saying terrible websites. There was maybe 10% that had okay websites, and there was 5% that had good websites, right? And when I say terrible websites meaning if somebody was to go to it and it was apparent that they might look and go, I'm not sure if this is a professional organization that I feel comfortable leaving my child at, right? Yeah. And, I hate to say it, but I really would love it if you guys have the opportunity to go through your website and make sure that it's up to a professional standard, to the quality that would fill somebody with confidence to leave their 3-year-old with you for an hour, right? Yeah. Because I think it's really, really important. And usually you guys are so busy wearing so many hats. I know I was when I owned my gym, that you just don't have the time and you kind of like just forget about the website and put it off. The true fact of the matter is right now that forget about COVID-19, but just the way the world is now, your website is the number one first impression that people are going to come to. And I will guarantee you that the people that are just coming in just naturally are fighting past potentially what your website is. They're going, you know what, this website doesn't look that good, but you know what, I'm going to contact them anyway because they're close. Mm-hmm. What we want it to be is we want it to be a wonderful website that tells a wonderful story that speaks to that parent's why. So all those parents that come to it, especially with the Olympics coming next year now, you're going to have a lot more people searching, going to that website. You want it to be a magnet that just grabs people and goes, man, I've got to contact this. There's no reason why all of you can't be full, right? Yeah. And have the problem that Gemini has with, okay, every time I raise the price to get rid of some people, they just keep coming in and keep paying. Yeah. They went from $75 average monthly fee to $130. They're kind of feeling embarrassed about how much they're charging now and how much they keep raising it, right? I want that to be a problem that you guys have, because the God honest truth is that you offer something magical, right? You offer something that, my family would not be without, and that is strengthening our kids and making them feel better about themselves, and, all that positive stuff that you guys give kids. Capture that, put it on, make sure that your website is looking the way that it should. If you don't have the ability to do it yourself, hire someone. We know this is so important that if you're a client of ours, and, this is not a pitch to you, but this just shows you how important it is to us. If you're a client of ours, we'll build you a website for free, because we know that the work that we're doing, driving all that traffic and interest in your community, is going to work so much better if your website's actually in really good shape, right? So please, what Hannah's about to talk to you about is absolutely critical. And if you've got a little bit more time because your gym is closed, go through this and let's get up to speed. And if you need help, we're always here to help you. We're not going away. I'm not going to shove it down your guys' throats, but we are here to help you. If you can figure it out and do it yourself by going through our course and figuring it out, do it, but it must be done. That's going to make you, so much more profitable and so much more successful. That's my rant.
And just a little heads up, I did drop a free website audit that you can do that we provide for you guys. And you can just fill it out and it'll give you basically a website health check. Yeah. So guys, use that tool. It's in the chat. I will be posting it in the group as well. But go ahead and take that little website health check and see where your website's at.
Yep.
Thanks, Ella.
Cool.
That's
Thanks,
really
Ella.
good. And I think I just keep saying this, but we're in a really unique time where you actually have the opportunity to really dive in and do an audit on your digital presence. And it's more important than ever that your digital presence is good, because that's the only way really people can engage with you right now. So a couple key things when you're thinking about that is making sure that your contact information is really easy to find on your website, your Facebook page, your Instagram, so that people can engage with you really easily. They know where you are. They know how to call you. They know how to contact you via email. Another thing that I haven't added on here is that you can also add a chat bot onto your Facebook page or onto your website in some instances, depending on the platform you have. And you can connect your Facebook Messenger to your website. And once we did that for the nonprofit that I run, the amount of people that engaged went up a lot. And that's a really good way to connect with people as well digitally. And I don't know if we have any trainings on that in our course or not, but if you want help on how to set that up, just make a comment in the Facebook group. We can share that with you, because that can be really powerful. Making sure your website is secure. So especially if you're collecting payments through your site, like this is a no-brainer. I would hope that most of your websites are secure, but if they're not, make sure that gets connected. That's
and
something
just to share why that's important is Google downranks you if you're not secure, basically.
This one's small, but it just helps show like the professionalism and the cleanliness of what your brand looks like, is making sure your logo or your icon fits within your Facebook and your Instagram. If you need help on how to do that the best way, that's another thing you can comment in the group on, and I can give you some tips, because that's a small thing, but it can be really powerful with showing like just if you got your stuff together. And then this is just more of a reminder about being professional. A lot of times, not a lot of times, but I know specifically when I run advertisements for e-commerce, they get a ton of engagement on like posts and stuff. And sometimes those comments are really negative, and how you respond to that engagement is really powerful. And always having that professional and positive response is really important. Or if somebody gives you a bad review, responding to that and say, hey, sorry, Sarah, that you didn't have a really great experience at our gym. Please call us and we can chat through about how to hope next time is a better experience for you. So always taking a negative experience and being professional in how you respond to turn it into a positive one. And that can be a much deeper conversation that we could go into. But so if you have questions on that, if you're struggling with maybe some bad feedback publicly on digital presence and how to be professional and respond to that, please, that's another thing that you can engage with us on. And then I said this already, but using this time to get reviews and get testimonials so that, and it also shows that during this time you're closed, that people are still engaging with your brand, because you don't really want this like 5-month gap in your reviews where no one's engaging and no one's giving you feedback. If you can get people engaging and giving you feedback during your virtual classes, etc., that can be helpful when your doors reopen as well. So we talked a little bit about messaging, specifically around the virtual session. We talked a little bit about audiences and like audience persona, and then talking about kind of posting on your page versus turning into an advertisement. I know we're kind of already over in time, so there's not too much more time to get into deeper stuff, but I did want to see if anyone had any specific questions about anything we covered, or even anything we didn't, that's maybe about messaging at this point before we kind of sign off.
And I do want to just talk a little bit about recommendations and reviews and testimonials when it comes to messaging. It's really important. Like I see it all the time. I get clients ask me what they should do, and we see it sometimes in the gymnastics marketing group. And when we refer to the group, guys, just in case you're coming from the gymnastics owners group, we're talking about the gymnastics marketing group. And if you're not in there, I highly suggest that you join. In that group, you can ask questions, right? And my team, including Hannah and Ella and many others, Russell, my partner, who's a technical whiz, we're constantly monitoring it to answer your questions and to help you get through this. But in that group, I've seen a number of posts over time talking about how do I handle, bad testimonials or reviews. And Hannah kind of like mentioned it when it came to comments. You always want to be responding as though you're responding to someone else other than the person that put the review in there. Be thinking that there's lots of people watching your response, right? And so you want to respond in a way that makes that person that's maybe checking your reviews think, okay, these guys are a good organization. Man, this person who had that problem, there's something wrong with them, right? You don't want to point out that something's wrong with them, but by being on the high ground and being the good guys is what actually will make the mum that's kind of like looking at the review feel better about it. The other thing that I really suggest that you do, because some of you don't do a good job of this, is get every parent that's already in your gym to post a good review. And Facebook, it's actually a recommendation. It's either would I recommend this or not, and then the aggregate average is how many stars you have, right? Right now we have a 5-star, 5 out of 5 stars. And that 5 out of 5 stars is based on 107 people saying that they like us and 2 people saying that they don't. And the aggregate is 5 stars, right? We don't lose any percentage because they round it up. So go out and do that, because then if you have some crazy person that puts something in there making horrible things, things about you, if you can be above 4.7 is almost like a magic number. 4.7 seems to be the number that people go, 4.7 is the same as 5, if you can be above 4.7. And if you notice, if you don't do Uber driving, and I don't know if any of you have ever been doing Uber driving, but apparently Uber, if your ranking drops below 4.7 as an Uber driver, you actually get fired. Same with, who's the other one, Lyft? You actually get fired if you go below 4.7, because that seems to be a magic number. So get a bunch of reviews. So if you have a couple of things happen where people post something, you don't suddenly go from 5 stars to 3 stars because you only got 2 positive reviews on your page, right? And then finally, if there's somebody that's never done business with you, you can actually contact Facebook and Google. Google does this as well. And query it and say, hey, this person's never done business with us. That, and Facebook and Google will kind of go through a process and potentially remove that review as well, right? So if you have like a war with a local gym and they're asking all their parents to put bad reviews on your page, which I've actually seen happen once, you can actually fight that off by actually telling Google and Facebook will remove the erroneous reviews. So those are a couple of things that I really highly recommend that you do. The reason why that's important is because the better your reviews are, the more Google and the search engines like it, right? So if you've got lots of good reviews, Google looks at you, and this is Facebook, Google, Yelp, Google will actually look at all the different search or review engines. And then it will go, you know what? Peter's operating a good operation here. They must be legit. We're going to rank him higher than, say, the competition down the road that doesn't have as many reviews. Does that make sense? So there's real dollar benefit to you to managing those reviews and making sure that you're getting one and doing it well. The other thing is from a communication standpoint is making sure that your Google My Business profile is exceptionally set up. That's going to give you a big boost on Google, and quite frankly, it will help people actually do business with you. So if you don't have control over your Google My Business account, you should do that. That's something that we do for all of our clients anyway. We make sure that that's happening. And I would suggest that as part of your audit, that you go through to make sure that your website's going as well. You have a look at your Google My Business account and make sure it's looking really good, right? Make sure that there's some photos in there, make sure that things are happening in there, make sure the content is right and nothing's wrong and the spelling's good. The better that is, the better it is for you, right? So
I would just add one thing too. If you don't get any weird comments or reviews now, sometimes that can happen if you put more advertising, because you just hit some random trolls that just like to do, like, we get some of the weirdest comments and reviews on our nonprofit page from people that like aren't even talking about what we do. It's just the weirdest stuff. And so that's knowing that that could happen and being prepared and how you respond and engage can be really good.
My philosophy on that, Hannah, is you're not marketing well unless you get some crazy trolling, right?
It's crazy. Perfect. So Annie, there's nothing else I wanted to cover. And I do actually have to hop off because I have another meeting at some point. But
no worries.
If anyone has any questions or wants to dig deeper, I love talking about Facebook ads, kind of like a nerdy thing that I do every day. So I am in the group as well. So if you just post any question, or you can send me a message directly, but and no question's a dumb question. I think a lot of people are afraid to ask things that they think other people know. And there's so many levels of experience in there, and I guarantee that other people have the same question in the back of their mind that they're not asking as well.
Yeah,
so
it's a great resource, guys. And right now, the world is virtual. If you want to leave, Hannah, feel free. I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any, and finish this out. But we are living in a virtual world, and I believe that this is a bit of an opportunity for us to get virtual and get our online situation sorted. Because as an industry, we're doing a bad job of it. Quite frankly, we're doing a bad job of it. The good news is for you guys, though, is that not only gymnastics is doing a bad job of it, but soccer is doing a bad job of it. Baseball is doing a bad job of it. Most dance studios are doing bad jobs of it. Most organizations that are catering to mums and parents are not actually really doing a great job of, one, marketing themselves, but also organizing their online presence. So if you actually can get on top of it, and you can actually be doing a really good job, you can actually start to dominate that market in your local community. And the other thing that I really want you to understand is if you do a really good job of it, especially Google, but I think Facebook is showing signs of this too, but especially Google, and this is actual absolute fact, is if you've been doing a really good job for a number of years, I think I might have said this before, for a number of years, Google will look at you and go, Peter's doing a really good job, and he's been doing this for a number of years. Now, if I come in and I do a really good job, but I'm new, Peter's always going to be in front of me, always, until Peter starts doing a bad job. Now, if he keeps doing a good job, making sure that everything is up to date and everything's running well, there's nothing I can do to ever beat Peter. Even if I'm a new guy that comes in, opens up a gym down the street, and I do everything perfectly, I can't get in front of Peter as far as Google's concerned, because Peter has one thing that Google really cares about, and that's longevity, right? Peter might have been doing this for 5 years. I've been doing it for 3 months. Google's going to look at the two of us and say, well, they're both doing a good job, but this guy's just started. Who knows what's going to happen to him? Peter's been doing this for a while. He's around to stay. So, because Google's always trying to send their people to the legit outfit, the organization that's going to last and knows what they're doing. And that's one of their criteria, which is actually a pretty strong criteria. So get your acts really together online so it looks really good, and you will actually you'll be able to future-proof yourself as well, okay? Against incoming competition if that happens. So do you guys have any more questions? We did record this, so I will post this in the gymnastics marketing group so you guys can go and check it out and look at it. But if you have any more questions, I'm happy to answer them. I highly, highly recommend that. I've spammed the chat a little bit with our Kids Activity Center link. I'm going to put it in there one more time just to really spam you guys. But I highly recommend that you get in there. If you don't do it, I don't know what to say, because there's no reason not to. Donate 0 or infinity, whatever you want, but get in there and start utilizing it, because literally it's everything we do every day, right? As Creatively Disruptive, we work with 60 odd gyms. All of them are doing pretty well, right? We're actually working with some swim schools now and a couple of dance schools as well. all of our information, all of our knowledge is in there, and we're updating it constantly because we use it as a training tool for our own staff. So you basically are connecting with our knowledge base. When you're in there for life, unless something happens to us, right? Which I don't think will happen. So, you know, get in there, start utilizing it, start upping your knowledge base, and take advantage of this. Maybe a little bit of, I mean, you probably don't feel like it's breathing space, but I'm guessing Barbara, knowing I'm going to poke at you a little bit, you're normally, when the gym's open, busy, right? Now you might feel a little bit busy right now, but if this closure keeps going, you're going to probably have a little bit more time on your hands. Let's get on top of this stuff. If you can't do it, guys, reach out to my team. We're doing all sorts of things to try and help you guys. We are really committed. We're not trying to make money during this period. If I'm honest with you, what I want to do is show that we really know our stuff. So when you guys reopen, we can hopefully do business with you. So that means we've really got to make sure that you guys are okay and get through this really rough period, hopefully as painlessly, if that's even a word right now, as possible, right? So please join. So here's 2 jobs, 2 bits of homework. Join the gymnastics marketing group if you're not in there. Sign up to the Kids Activity Academy, the Zero or Infinity, whatever you want to donate, and then start asking questions in the group if you have any. And because I'm paying people right now to help you guys. So utilize us, please. So that's it, unless you guys have a question. Anybody? Nope. All right, I'm going to stop the recording.